Here we go again. We have arrived to another tax season. Are you ready or are you feeling stressed? A lot of times during this time, consultants feel financially stressed, they feel overwhelmed, and they really don't know what to do. Well, have no worry, have no fear. As a matter of fact, you can woosah, because I'm going to provide you with 10 ways to get your consulting firm ready for tax season. Stay tuned. Welcome to Say Yes to Profits, a virtual CFO firm that helps consultants gain clarity, control, and confidence in their numbers so that they reduce business taxes and build profitable million-dollar businesses. We exist to eradicate small business failure, so subscribe today, and as a result, we will make it rain money in your business. It is time for you to say yes to profits. Hello, consultants. I am Octavia, CEO of Say Yes to Profits and the virtual CFO for consultants who desire to gain clarity, control, and confidence in their finances so that they reduce business taxes and say yes to profits. Today, I want to deep dive into 10 ways to get your consulting firm ready for a stress-free, worry-free, non-overwhelming tax season. So without further ado, let's jump in. The first tip, I want you to be aware of the upcoming tax deadlines. Depending on your type of business, there may be many deadlines that you must follow. Now, for an LLC, in most cases, your tax deadline is April 18th for this year. You complete a Schedule C tax form and include that with your personal. Now, for an S corporation, your tax deadline is actually March 15th. And for a C corporation, you have until April 15th to file your federal taxes. Make sure that you're aware of those deadlines. In addition to that, W-2 and 1099s, there is a deadline for that, and I'm going to talk about that a little later. Tip number 2, get your books in order and fast, ASAP, right now. Your accounting records should be reconciled to match your bank statements as of December 31st, 2021. Now, any loans you have should have the correct closing balance as of that date. And all assets should be correctly documented and allocated in your accounting system. This is highly, highly important. If you need help cleaning up 2021, you can schedule a complimentary discovery session today with us at sayyes2profits.com/session. sayyes2profits.com/SESSION. For this tip, you want to make sure that all of your records are clear, they are accurate, and you clearly understand your income, your net profit, your expenses, your bank balances, your equity as the owner of the company. So your profit and loss statement, your cash flow statement, and your balance sheet should all make sense because you're going to use some of these documents to file your taxes. Tip number 3. Identify the tax deductions for your type of business. Now, there are tax deductions that will save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars in taxes. As a consultant, you want to identify those tax deductions that are going to save you money. And you want to make sure that your accounting team has captured all of that information in your bookkeeping records. Tip number 4. Update your mileage log. Now, the mileage log rate for 2021 was 56 cents per mile. You want to create or finalize your mileage log for 2021 and include that documentation when you hand over your tax documents to your accountant. Also, remember that if you are driving your personal vehicle for business expenses, you probably want to take the mileage rate and create a mileage log. That is more than likely the best thing to do. But again, consult your accountant. Tip number 5, make sure you capture all out-of-pocket business expenses. So throughout last year, did you make any purchases for your consulting firm using your personal funds? Can you provide proof of purchase, like receipts or any other source documents? If so, I highly recommend you capture these purchases inside of your accounting system. Now, make sure that you're capturing them correctly because there's a specific way to do this depending on what type of business you currently have. Tip number 6, gather all of your financial records and tax documents. Now, depending on how you are filing your taxes, there are certain documents you must have. The list is kind of long. Therefore, I have included a link to our tax form checklist for you for free in the comments and description. Now, this list will help you identify some well-known tax deductions for consulting firms and the documents you need to gather in order to have a stress-free tax season. Do not wait to gather your documents at the last minute. You want to have a stress-free tax season, so you need to start right now. Tip number 7, issue 1099s and W-2s to all contractors and employees. 1099s are for your contractors. W-2s are for your employees. All of those forms are due by January 31st. You should either e-file those forms or postmark them by that date, okay? When you file your business taxes, you have to confirm on your tax return that you have completed and sent out all of those forms. So please make sure that you don't forget. Tip number 8, set aside at least 30% of your net profit from 2021 for taxes. Now, whether you are an LLC, an S corporation, I recommend that you set at least 30% aside. I mean, of course, if you file your taxes and you see that you don't owe or you don't owe that much, which that can happen legally and ethically, then you have 30% saved where you can use it as a bonus to yourself or your team. But at a very minimum, I recommend that you save 30% so that when that tax bill does come, you already have this money to the side. You're not stressed. You can go ahead and pay your taxes, close that chapter, and continue to grow your business for the rest of the year. Tip number 9, read up on the tax reform and gather all questions and notes for your accountant. Now, here's the thing. The 2018 Tax Cut and Jobs Act changed the scope of taxes for small business owners. Now, some significant changes affect how C corporations and S corporation pay their taxes. For example, as a pass-through entity, in most cases, a S corporation, you receive up to a 20% tax deduction for qualified business income. But if you are a specialized company, such as a consultant or consulting firm owner, many of you will have limitations with this specific deduction. And you should know what they are because you don't want to take this in the wrong way. Also, specific expenses like office snacks and meals are now 50% deductible, whereas before they were actually 100%. And if you didn't know, now you know that entertainment expenses are no longer allowed. Yep, they're no longer 100%, they're not 50%, they're 0. Yeah, these are things that you need to know. And bottom line, for tip number 9, take a few minutes and again, read the 2018 Tax Cut and Jobs Act and consult with your accountant to make sure that you're using everything to your advantage and you're not doing anything incorrectly. Now, this tip actually leads us to our final one. Tip number 10, I recommend that you schedule a pre-prep tax appointment with your tax accountant and begin submitting your documents and asking your questions. Again, I cannot stress enough. Do not wait until the last minute to meet with your accountant. You're going to add stress to them and you're going to be stressed as well, and it's just going to be a big old mess. So, go ahead and schedule a brief pre-prep tax accounting meeting right now to ensure that you're sending over everything that you need, you're gathering all of your documents, and you're fully prepared to file your taxes and file them on time. Yes, you are. So if you have any questions and any additional tips on how to get ready for the upcoming tax season, definitely leave those below. And make sure that you hit the subscribe and like button right now and come back again next week for another video. This is Octavia Connor. Until next time, say yes to profits. Toodles! You have enjoyed another episode of the Say Yes to Profits podcast. Be sure to download the free resource from this episode and hit the subscribe and like buttons right now. Also connect with us on other social media platforms and join the free Say Yes to Profits community. Thank you for joining us. Say Yes to Profits.